you want me just to start?
I've got a quick introduction, so
All right.
Yeah. Wonderful. So good morning, everybody. My name is Nicola Taylor. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at ScotlandIS. For those of you who don't know, we are the trade body and cluster management organisation for the digital tech sector here in Scotland. Before we get started, I would just like to let you all know that early bird tickets and tables are for our annual ScotSoft conference and Young Software Engineer of the Year awards are available to purchase. Both events are taking place on the 24th of September at the EICC in Edinburgh, and we will drop some further information into the chat so that you can see more about that there. 18 months ago, we launched our series of ScotlandIS Tech Tidbits, which take place on the first Tuesday of every month. These sessions last 30 minutes and are designed to educate you on areas that you might not want to know more about, encourage you to innovate with your newfound knowledge, and potentially collaborate with our hosts. These sessions are recorded, so I would ask you to keep cameras and mics off, and I would ask that any questions that you have be placed into the chat box, and we will ask those for you at the end of the presentation. So, today's session, I am delighted to be joined by ScotlandIS partner, the Edinburgh Remakery. When we talk about the end of life of tech, recycling is often presented as the solution. This session argues that recycling should be the last conversation we have and not the first. So, without further ado, please can I introduce CEO Elaine Brown of the Edinburgh Remakery. Thanks, Elaine, over to you.
Thanks so much, Nicola, and hello everybody. I'm absolutely delighted to be here as a partner with ScotlandIS. I've worked with many of you as members, so I just want to take you on a little journey this morning about reimagining your tech and how building a social first circular approach can really make business sense. So it's good for the planet, good for our communities, but actually really good for your business. So I'm going to take you on that little journey this morning just to spark conversation. Next slide, please. Wonderful. So the picture that you have in front of there is a bag of what we know as e-waste. As we know, we are living in a digital world. We're all members of digital space here in Scotland, and we can't stop that, nor do we want to. But what we've got to be very mindful of is what we do with our tech, because this bag of e-waste represents the largest growing waste stream in our planet, e-waste, all the waste that comes from being in a digital world. And it is hugely harmful to our planet. If any of those metals go into soil, go into landfill, they are going to damage our planet. And we also can't sustain it because what's inside your tech is amazing, precious metals. So we can't keep taking from that. So we need to be thinking collectively of what do we do with our tech? So you as businesses, when you're finished with your tech, it becomes a dilemma. There's environmental legislation, there's cost, etc. So again, what we're trying to educate people is if it's the end of the tech in your life, it can start a brand new journey elsewhere and actually then lead back to your ESG. And as you know, ESG is becoming more and more pertinent within your businesses. It drives people to be your customer. It drives people to want to work with you and stay with you. And it also drives more business through the door. So it's not just a tick box exercise. It really is something that we all have to be thinking about, building that circular, but also that social part of our ESG. Next slide, please. So we are Scotland's social ITAD, leading social ITAD. So at the Remakery, we work with businesses all across Scotland to help you solve that dilemma. So the picture that's in front of you there is our wonderful tech hardware repair technicians. So when tech comes to us, it can have a further life outside of your business. And one of the things that we specialise is refurbishing. So in a circular economy approach, as Nicola said, recycling is actually the first point of failure. Where we need to get to is reducing consumption and then repair and reuse. And that's where we sit and can help you around that. So these wonderful technicians will assess tech and make sure that they can bring it back to life. And sometimes it's just missing a crucial part. Sometimes it just needs a little upgrade. Sometimes it just needs a good clean, and that can bring it back. And what that is doing is that is creating green jobs. And that is something that's really important for your ESG. If you can report on what you're doing to help in the community, that is going to score you a lot of points, both in your annual reports and when you're procuring. And green jobs are really important because as the circular economy develops and gets bigger, we're going to have jobs that are created in that circular economy space that don't even exist yet. And a tech hardware technician is almost one of those. It's filling a circular economy skills gap. So you could be lifting that information and putting it into your wonderful annual reports. And the technicians that we have come from perhaps low unemployment, and so they need that little bit of help because perhaps school wasn't great for them. So again, we are reaching out into our community and really giving people a chance at employment. And Ali in the top left-hand corner there is a perfect example. He came to us do a funded project and then worked his way up to becoming a hardware technician. So repair and reuse is absolutely crucial, and the journey that the tech goes on really does bring it back to life. Next slide, please, Katrina. So again, back to repair and reuse. In order to refurbish, we need to have spare parts to put into new devices. And these wonderful people here are Matty and Nathan, and they are e-waste operatives. And so they assess a device once it's not going to go on to refurbishing, and they start to extract the pieces that will be used for repair. And they are become expert in understanding what's exactly inside your tech, what can be used for repair and reuse, and what can be used for ethical recycling. So although I said recycling is not the great thing, inevitably there will be some machines that are just beyond the point of bringing them back to life. But that does not mean to say that they don't have a value. And the value is that those parts can be used to repair other bits. And then the bits that we don't use, we can ethically recycle. So nothing at the Remakery goes to landfill. So again, when we are providing the reports to you, you can emphasize that. And one of the key things that we're very proud of, and again, it's about that ESG piece and collaboration and partnerships. We are Scotland's only partner with the Royal Mint, and they take our motherboards that are never going to be able to be used again, and they extract the precious metals, and in particular, the gold. And they use that gold to create jewellery. So that is a real circular economy piece. And again, we want to tell those stories. A lot of times in your annual reports, when you're talking about circular, the stories are the thing that sells it. We can provide lots of stats about tonnage diversion and CO2 emissions saved, but what really resonates both for your business and for your customers is the stories behind it. And again, creating jobs and making sure that nothing goes to landfill. Next slide, please, Katrina. So when tech is refurbished, when tech is segregated for parts, when it is ethically recycled, both the cables and the metals, etc., that's wonderful. And that's your environmental, the E of your ESG covered. And we provide lots of stats around tonnage diversion and CO2, plus all your legislation. So again, you can build that into your model and emphasize that in tendering and such like. But the S is often the bit of that companies struggle with. How do we make that impact into our community? How do we make that social value? And that word social value is so important now, and anyone who lives and breathes bids and tenders will absolutely understand the pain of that. The scoring for that is getting higher and higher. So we need to make sure that in there, we're not just saying we volunteered X amount of hours. Lovely as that is, that's not going to win you the points. So again, adopting a circular approach with your tech and reimagining it differently can really drive that S into your accounts. And the picture that you see before you is a demonstration of what we've done together as members of ScotlandIS when we're donating tech. This is our tech donation boxes. So you are leading by example. We're able to say to the community, the businesses here in Edinburgh and beyond are doing the right thing. They're doing a circular thing, and we can provide through the support of those wonderful businesses a way for people in our communities to do that. And so therefore, we have got the tech donation boxes, which many companies sponsor, and they go out to schools, they go out into your own business to get your staff involved. And then those boxes get people in our communities really excited about reimagining tech, getting rid of their own personal tech, and then it goes on that similar journey. And again, we can provide stats on that. So that is really meaningful. You are reaching out into the community and you're gathering that wonderful feedback and stories. Next slide, please. So again, the social, I'm really emphasizing that today because I think that is how you're going to really elevate your business. And it has to be real stories because that's the thing that resonates. And the picture that you've got in front of here, nothing resonates more when somebody has been impacted so powerfully with the refurbished tech, the reused tech that we are providing together. So we at the Remakery refurbish a proportion of the tech that's donated through our social ITAD, and then we gift it to people in our communities that are facing digital poverty. Digital poverty is a real thing, not often talked about, but 800,000 people in Scotland face digital poverty, meaning that they don't have a device to connect to this digital world, or they don't have a sufficient device to connect to the digital world. So by refurbishing tech, we're not taking anything more from the planet, but then we're giving back to people in our communities. And those stories are the thing that elevates your S, because you're able to tell the story of the young carer who was able to get some tech from yourselves. You're able to tell the story of an elderly person who's never used tech before being gifted a device to help them stay connected to healthcare services. So it's just reimagining that tech no longer needed in your business, but my goodness, it's needed within our community. Next slide, please. So again, stats are very important for you as a business. You're wanting to make sure that you are singing the praises of everything that you do because it's a competitive world out there. So again, we do provide that environmental stats in impact reports that many of our current companies that use our ITAD lift the impact reports that we provide as part of their evidence trail. And these are just some lovely juicy stats from the tech donation boxes that some of our partners who use us for their social value in their procurement have received and use to win tenders. Next slide, please. The other thing that I think is very important is I mentioned at the beginning the circular economy and recycling being first point of failure, but the first thing there is reducing consumption. But we realise that people need to buy devices because we need to be connected in a digital world. So we really encourage through the refurbished tech is for people to buy refurbished tech instead of pressing the buy new button. Again, that helps keep the resources circulating and it's cheaper for them. So we encourage people to think that buying second-hand refurbished tech is not second best. It's actually the cool thing to do. And together as businesses, we can then help other SMEs, charities, social enterprises to begin their reimagining of tech within their journey of their workplace, because many of them we do B2B, so many will buy refurbished tech for their businesses so they can embed that into their report straight away to say that they build that into their circular economy practice within their business. So they are educating themselves that just buying the press new button is sometimes not the right thing to do. Last slide, please, Katrina. So you might be thinking, oh, it all sounds a lot of work. Why would I bother doing that? Well, I want to really re-emphasize that being a circular economy business is good for business. It is good for the planet because we are keeping things in use longer. We are not putting it to landfill to harm our planet. It's good for our communities because together we're supporting those that are digitally excluded and for whom a piece of refurbished kit means so much more. It means connectivity to our world. And it also means great things for your bottom line because you are absolutely ethically doing the right thing with your tech, and then you are more competitive both in attracting and retaining staff and also in that fierce world of procurement and bids. And I just wanted to leave you with evidence that being a circular economy good business makes business sense. The picture that you see before you is that in 2022, the Edinburgh Remakery won the Queen's Award for Enterprise for Sustainable Development for all our practices around circular economy. It's the biggest business award in the country. And just this year, 2026, we won the King's Award for Enterprise for Sustainability. There were only 8 businesses in Scotland this year that won it, and we were the only social enterprise. And it was specifically around the amazing work that we do with businesses such as yourself to reimagine that tech, to put that circular economy part right at the heart of it, but not forgetting about the social value. And so it means that together we can really remake a difference. Thank you. Over to questions, if there are any.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Elaine. That was fantastic. So there are a couple of questions in the chat, and I've got one to kick us off as well.
Yeah.
And that's just a quick reminder then for anybody else who might have questions for Elaine that now is your time to get those into the chat box for us.
Yes.
So my question, Elaine, is if every single ScotlandIS member committed to make one practical change in how they manage their end-of-life technology, what would that change be, and what would create the biggest environmental and social impact?
Yes. Well, it'll be no surprise here, Nicola, that I'm going to say if they donated their end-of-life tech to the Edinburgh Remakery through our social ITADs, because we will then create this amazing stats. I think Barbara has just sent the stats to you for the cumulative for ScotlandIS so far. We want to make an impact. We want ScotlandIS to be the leading voice on this, to amplify your contributions. So I know I'm not here to sort of completely promote the Remakery, but I would be remiss if I didn't. And that is the biggest impact, because together we can really make that impact socially. And because it's across Scotland, although we're Edinburgh Remakery, we work across Scotland, it means that we can impact communities up north, anywhere you like, because there will be people throughout Scotland that are facing that digital poverty, and it's much more engaging. So yes, let's really, the ScotlandIS members can do amazing amount of good there for the circular economy in Scotland.
Wonderful, thank you, Elaine. So moving into the questions in the chat now. First one up is, how can organisations design procurement strategies that consider end-of-life reuse from the outset?
Yeah, so we work with quite a few tech companies at the moment where they're what we're known as their social value partner. And so within that, we help write that horrible piece that, is getting more and more scoring. And within that, it's building in the story about the environment and the social in there. So it's really looking at what do we do with our tech? What is our lifespan of our tech? What is our purchasing of our tech? What sustainability staff have we got in our teams that can be champions for this? So we work with some companies who have a sustainability champion, and we go in and do talks with them. They lift that, put that into their social value. So it's back to the title. it's reimagining, just thinking a little bit out the box. But that piece of writing your social value proposition really does start making you plan, well, what would that look like? How could we really enhance that? And it's really just starting by thinking, I've got a bit of tech on my desk. How did that arrive here? And what's going to happen to it at the end? Simple as that.
When you say it like that, Elaine, it does sound simple.
Simple.
So the next question is kind of a question and comment and kind of in one. So is there a ScotlandIS approved / endorsed list of refurb sellers? And then they say that would be very useful. So I think that's more directed at myself. As it stands, there is not. However, now that we know that that is something that you guys would find useful, then that is certainly an action that we will take away at our end and start curating that as something that can be distributed with the membership. So thank you for highlighting that. Next question is, what are the biggest opportunities for the tech sector in Scotland to support circular economy objectives?
The biggest opportunity to support circular economy tech, I think it's making sure that you are complying with your environmental legislation, because this isn't just a nice thing to do and what have you. This can have serious consequences to your business should you not follow it through the legislation. And there's a lot of legislation driving us to circular. It's almost like a carrot and stick, please do this. But then there will be environmental legislation consequences through the Circular Economy Bill, through the Production Responsibility Initiative, where manufacturers are having to think right at the beginning of the life cycle of a tech, what's going to happen to it at the end of its life. So I would say be very familiar with what your environmental legislation is in compliance for disposing of your tech. So again, having waste transfer notices is absolutely crucial, because you have to evidence what you did with your tech. And please don't put it to landfill, because it will never go on a reuse, and don't even put it to a municipal dump, which you can't do as a business anyway, but it will not go for repair and reuse. So I would say become familiar with the legislation. It's not there to horrify you, it's there to support you and build in your practices. So I think that's one of the things that you can do very quickly and easily.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Now I know that this is an area that you guys work particularly hard on, so I'm glad somebody has asked this question. How do you ensure data is securely removed from all of the devices?
Yes, that is absolutely the number one priority for businesses, because data is your business, isn't it? And as we know, hackers are getting ever cleverer, and data theft can mean the end of your business, both reputationally and income-wise. So the Edinburgh Remakery, we're an ISO 27001, nice snappy title, accredited organisation. So that means that we have the highest protocols for data security. It was the number one thing we had to do as becoming a social ITAD, because businesses want to have trust that their data is safe. So we have that. We're a waste transfer note, a data wipe registered organisation and registered with SEPA. So your tech is absolutely safe. Similarly, when you saw the pictures of the tech donation boxes with members of the community donating, that was one of their huge concerns. But again, because we've got all the protocols in place, data is safe. It's more than our business would be worth not to have that. But data is very, very crucial, and that's why you've got to have a clear plan what you're going to do with your data, because from end to end you want to make sure that your data is secure. And again, working with a provider such as yourself, make sure that end to end of your kit is safe and secure, and you have certification to prove that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Elaine. I've time to squeeze in just one last one, which is in the chat here as well, before we conclude the session. And it says, would the Remakery accept devices that cannot use Windows 11? So, for example, ones that have got like Chrome OS or Ubuntu?
Yes. So what is a tragedy for the environment is the end of 10. It's enforced obsolescence,
Yep.
and it flies against, the Scottish government have one strategy about net zero, and then they do
Yeah.
something completely,
Different.
different. So the answer to that question is absolutely, because remember what I said, it's what's inside your computer that is really, really precious. And there are many people in our community who can use a different operating system, and we're trying to do that education piece around Linux, etc.
Yep.
Because if they're not running high-tech businesses and what they want to do is a simple thing, to engage with the world, then using Linux and using a refurbished bit of kit is absolutely fine. So absolutely, I disagree with the fact that it's enforcing obsolescence on some of these devices, but we're not going to
Yeah.
let that stand in the way of keeping it circular and keeping it in use. So yes is the answer to that.
Fantastic. So so the comment follow-up there is prepare to get a big box. So hopefully that's good
I
news for
love
you,
it.
Elaine.
This is making me happy on whatever day this is, Tuesday morning.
And then no further questions, but another positive comment in here for you. So it's such good work. It's getting done by all at the Edinburgh Remakery, and hope to get a catch up soon, working with Barbara to create a more formal partnership and already getting our clients to send their kit your way directly. So
Yeah.
again, all positive things coming out of this conversation
Amazing.
today, Elaine.
Amazing.
So that unfortunately does bring us to the end of
Gosh.
today's session. It was a quick one, as they always are, but nonetheless covered lots of important things and lots of key takeaways there as well. And most importantly, do not, do not get rid of your old tech equipment by just simply throwing it away. There's lots that can be done with that, and please make use of the fabulous service that the Edinburgh Remakery offer to be able to help you out with that. It's not only good for the environment, but it's also good for your organisation. Huge thank you, Elaine, for taking the time
Thank you.
to deliver today's presentation. If anybody does have any additional questions or queries that they would like to ask Elaine, then we can facilitate that for you, and we'll be more than happy to make any introductions as well. But for now, thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we will share the recording with you when that is available. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Iya.